Elon Musk, what's the vision here? What are you trying to do to the car industry?
Well, I'm trying to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport, so try to get the car industry to move towards electrification faster than they would otherwise move. So the fundamental value, long-term value that I see for Tesla is serving as a catalyst to accelerate the transition to sustainable transport.
Why electric cars? Why is that important?
Well, electric cars are zero emission at the car level, so they're not producing CO2 or nitrous oxide or sulfur oxides or any of the sort of the noxious gases that any kind of combustion engine car would produce. And so if we can have sustainable energy production and combine that with electric cars, we have a long-term sustainable future.
And how's that going? I mean, you've made a deal of progress, but do you see us all having electric cars in 10 years' time, or is it going to be always a minority pursuit?
No, I think all transport, with the exception of rockets, will go fully electric. So that's why, I mean, I see the value of Tesla as an accelerant, as a catalyst in that transition. I think Tesla, maybe when one looks back on it from an historical perspective, it might accelerate that transition by a decade, maybe more.
Now, this is a great car, it's an exciting drive, but at the moment, it's just for the rich, isn't it? Is this really going to mean anything for the mass market?
Yeah, I mean, the Tesla strategy from the beginning has been to start off with a low volume, high priced car. That was the sports car that we first did in partnership with Lotus. And then we have the Model S, which is kind of a mid-priced, mid-volume car. And actually, when you look at the price of the Model S, inclusive of the cost of petrol, it actually is a lot more competitive than you'd think.
I'm not going to be able to afford one of these, and nobody I know is.
Well, I think it's certainly not a low-priced car. I'm just saying that if you were to lease or finance the car and compare the lease or finance cost with a much lower cost of operation of an electric car, your monthly cost of transport is a lot more competitive than it may seem at first glance just looking at the price of the car.
But are you on the road to producing a model that far more people could aspire to?
Yes. So the Model 3, that's the third part of our strategy, which is to produce a high volume, low cost car. And we expect to be in production with that at the end of next year.
Is that all on schedule, and what are the ambitions for that car? Is that the one that will really make this revolution that you've been talking about happen?
No question. In order to have a substantial effect on transportation, we have to make the cars affordable. So I think the Model 3 is extremely important as part of that strategy. Unless there's an affordable car, we will, as you alluded to earlier, only have a small impact on the world. So we need to make a car that most people can afford in order to have a really substantial impact.
How important is it for you that people's lives are changed in this way? Obviously it's important for this business because you've lost a lot of money so far. You need to have a mass market car. But is it important for you as a thinker that people have electric cars, that sustainable vision comes true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, the whole point of Tesla is to accelerate the transition to sustainable transport. If we could have made an affordable car right off the bat, we definitely would have. It's just that it takes time to refine the technology. When you think of any new technology, it takes multiple versions and economies of scale in order to make the technology accessible to the general public. I mean, you can look at, say, cell phones. In the early days of cell phones, they were very big and heavy and very expensive. But with successive design iterations and scaling up the production, we've brought it to the point where